Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a car that I haven't formally even introduced you guys to on the channel yet. We'll probably be doing the next video on that one. Today's video is going to be on some track days, some good, some bad, some upgrades, and some fun. So you know the deal, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you guys are already enjoying the beginning of your weekend. So let's get to it. So not this past weekend, but the weekend before was Grid Life Rev Up. And unfortunately, I had to pass at Gingerman Raceway, all the way out in Michigan, which is about 12 hours from here. And car was ready, I was not, and I had to make an adult decision to, not go to the event. I might have been able to make it, but it would have been rushed, and I'm tired of the rushing to event situation. So I decided not to go. I stayed home and I said, you know what, we'll do some testing before we go to a competition, and we'll go to NJMP Track Nights in America with my buddy Evan McLaren. It was at Thunderbolt, which I was super stoked on. If you don't know, they repaved it, they resurfaced it, and the track's fast, like real fast. And it's a good thing that we didn't go up to Rev Up, because the silver car had issues. So the silver car was put together in a very short period of time, and certain things I just knew it was a running and driving swap. I was not really aware of some of the stuff, not because I'm an idiot, somewhat, but the fact that I just didn't pay attention to every little detail, which sometimes you should. And one of the things that I didn't pay attention to was the injector harness, I guess, if you will. It's not really the harnesses, but they're called jumper plugs. Or jumper harnesses rather. And what they do is they just pretty much adapt to your aftermarket injectors. So this is an aftermarket harness. This is a bad example. I don't have the silver car here, it's at home. But at the track at NJMP, what was happening very simply was the injector wires were pretty much pulling out of the plugs, or the pins in the plug, not even the plug itself. The whole pin was, the whole wire was popping out of the pin. So my buddy Evan McLaren was able to help me. He had some crimpers, so we were able to get the pin back on the wire, put it back in. And for whatever reason, the car just still didn't seem perfect. I was down about 10 miles an hour on the straight, and the car was still feeling a little bit weird and sluggish, and still made a pretty quick pass, considering there were certain turns where I was completely off gas. You'd be at least hard braking into the turn and accelerating out of. I was kind of coasting through it and then getting on the gas, not so aggressively, for the reason that the car would kind of start breaking up or just would feel sluggish coming out of the turn anyway. So with that being said, this is why that happened. So throttle body bolts just backed out and fell out. I didn't notice this really at NJMP. By the time we had fixed that plug wire, the injector plug wires, it was the last session. We went out, got black flagged because Evan's splitter decided to yeet his splitter completely off in turn 2. So came in, threw the car on the trailer, left it there, knowing that Saturday I was going to be up at New York Safety Track with Emra for a event with them. Now, I found out that that was like that at Emra. So drove all the way up to New York Safety Track, got up there. Unfortunately, with the throttle body, now you can see these are not recessed. The throttle body's not recessed, so these bolts sit straight through. You can bolt them directly on here. With the Skunk2 throttle body that I have on that car, the bolts were the throttle body's recessed, and the bolts sit inside those recesses. You have to have specific bolts. I thought I had them. I had this throttle body right here in my truck. Took them out, put them in. They were bottoming out on the manifold, and the throttle body was loose. Now, was it like that the whole time? I don't know. It was never really looked at. It was tight. It got tuned that way. We don't have a clue. I think the bolts were meant for a thermal gasket, which is like this right here, but for your throttle body. So who the heck knows if it was always like that? The bolts backed out completely. These two fell out, and the whole thing was just flopping around. So realistically, we had to pack up and go home. I tried putting extra bolts in. It was not sealing the throttle body tight enough, and had to call it a week. Call it a weekend. But we figured that all out at relatively local events, and that's why you kind of do those tests. So this upcoming month, we have Mid-Ohio at the end of the month. We're going to be doing the NJMP Lightning EMRA event, and hopefully a track night or two, just to get some more seat time in the silver car. With that being said, it's time to get to work on the black car, and I want to show you the updates that we got coming. One thing you will notice, we got the headlights on. So I put these on. I didn't video it because it's kind of boring. It's very simple. It's an H1 bulb. The harness was built with a Deutsch connector, so this could be switched out in the event we run stock headlights, which is awesome. This is why I used the guys I did for the wiring. They did such a great job. I'll put their link in the description below. They do all sorts of cars. So obviously Honda's is their specialty, but you know, wire guys can do, especially these guys, can pretty much do it all. So there's some stuff in here that we're gonna be changing. First off, is the biggest one's gonna be the transmission. We're gonna pull that out, and we're gonna be putting a built K20Z3 trans in there. It's got a new gear set, stock 4.7 final drive, but the gear set's a little bit shorter, so we'll see. That's gonna be a fun trans to see if that one works better than the one in the silver car, which is a 5.46 final drive with a Type R 4.56. But the other thing that we're gonna be changing out is the manifold and throttle body. So even though we had the issue with the Skunk2 stuff up in New York, we are going to be running another Skunk2 throttle body. So last year we ran a K2 90 millimeter, and everything was fine. A lot of people complain about the large throttle bodies. This is way excessive. It's what I had, so we ran it. I knew the car was going to be anyway because we were making a lot of sacrifices in the parts. So we're going to be switching out 74 millimeter Skunk throttle body, and then we're going to be running the Skunk2 Ultra Street with a 0.5 liter spacer. So this is going to replace this. We're actually going to have some fun. We're going to do some dynoing and direct compare. We might throw the 80 millimeter throttle body on there, see if that makes the difference, make it a little bit closer. But the silver car actually made 10 more horsepower than this car, and this car is on Ignite Red. So it's on E85, and the silver car is on pump gas. So the fact that this one makes less power, we're gonna figure that out, and hopefully this one's gonna make just as much, if not some more power, because we got some other tricks up our sleeve. Yeah, anyway, so some other stuff. Suspension components. We have lower control arms, lower compliance bushings. They're not in the pile at the moment, but we have lower compliance bushings, all gonna be changed to spherical bushings. And then rear lower control arms, we are going to be switching out the PCI for these. I have these on the silver car, and I'm really like the way that the silver car felt mechanically on the track. So even though we weren't putting the power down, the suspension just seemed really dialed, and it's kind of crazy to think because that car really didn't, it had one alignment down at CMP, and we've changed some stuff, so the alignment's slightly off, but it still felt great. So we'll see how that all feels once it's actually dialed. Not weight, not corner balance, nothing. So I'm excited about that to see how that car feels and how this car feels. So that stuff, then we've got the rear sway bar. We're gonna be replacing with the ASR hollow bar, and then we have to finish the inside. We're gonna be doing some cleanup in here, painting, getting this all ready, some new seats, some new harnesses, and then the front end is going on this car. I'm really stoked on this. This car is going to be a true weapon. It's going to be awesome. It's going to look sick. We got the new side skirts, the new PCI 5-inch side skirts to match what the front end is going to be. We also put some new carbon fiber mirrors on this. This was a huge surprise to me. These were some eBay mirrors that I picked up, and they're awesome. Fitment's great. As you can see, actually way better than some really good mirrors. We had the APR mirrors on here last year, and these just are way more functional. They're a spoon style mirror. As you know, we have the GSP plug, we've got the rear wing logic spoiler, and some other stuff coming, and I'm excited about it. This car is going to be an absolute weapon. It's just going to be so fun. I'm excited for it. So that's about it. You guys know the deal. We got some other stuff coming up. Hopefully some Skyline content finally. That car is getting just fixed a little bit. Let's put it that way. So see you next time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you soon.